America, most people would associate this look with drag queens sashaying off to a party with a 1950s prom theme. Here in Afghanistan, for reasons I still don't understand, this look conveys the mystique of the virgin. The cook arrives just behind the women, whispering that she'll make the tea, and Topakai, Basira, and Bahar, the other beauticians, rush into the salon and take off their headscarves. Then we begin the joyful, gossipy, day-long ordeal of transforming 20-year-old Roshana into a traditional Afghan bride. Most salons would charge up to $250, about half the annual income for a typical Afghan, for the bride's services alone. But I am not only Roshana's former teacher, but also her best friend, even though I'm more than 20 years older. She is my first and best friend in Afghanistan. I love her dearly, so the salon services are just one of my gifts to her. We begin with the parts of Roshana that no one will see tonight except her husband. Traditional Afghans consider body hair to be both ugly and unclean, so she must be stripped of all of it except for the long, silky brown hair on her head and her eyebrows. There can be no hair left on her arms, underarms, face, or privates. Her body must be as soft and hairless as that of a prepubescent girl. We lead Roshana down the corridor to the waxing room, the only one in Afghanistan, I might add, and she grimaces as she sits down on the bed. "You could have done it yourself at home," I tease her, and the others laugh. Many brides are either too modest or too fearful to have their pubic hair removed by others in a salon, so they do it at home. They either pull it out by hand or rip it out with chewing gum. Either way, the process is brutally painful. Besides, it's hard to achieve the full Brazilian, every pubic hair plucked, front and back, when you do it on your own, even if you're one of the few women in this country to own a large mirror, as Roshana does. "At least you know your husband is somewhere doing this too," Topakai says with a leer. My girls giggle at this reference to the groom's attention to his own naked body today. He also must remove all of his body hair. "But he only has to shave it off," Roshana wails, then blushes and looks down. I know she doesn't want to appear critical of her new husband, whom she hasn't yet met, in front of her mother-in-law. She doesn't want to give the older woman any reason to find fault with her, and when Roshana looks back up again, she smiles at me anxiously. But the mother-in-law seems not to have heard her. She has been whispering outside the door with one of her daughters. When she turns her attention back to the waxing room, she looks at Roshana with a proud, proprietary air. The mother-in-law had picked Roshana out for her son a little more than a year after Roshana graduated from the first class at the Kabul Beauty School in the fall of 2003 and opened her own salon. The woman was a distant cousin who came in for a perm. She admired this pretty, plucky, resourceful girl who had been supporting her parents and the rest of her family ever since they fled into Pakistan to escape the Taliban. After she left Roshana's salon, she started asking around for further details about the girl. She liked what she heard. Roshana's father had been a doctor, and the family had led a privileged life until they fled to Pakistan in 1998. There, he was not allowed to practice medicine, a typical refugee story, and had to work as a lowly shoeshine man. By the time they returned to Kabul, he was in such ill health that he couldn't practice medicine. Still, he staunchly carried out his fatherly duties by accompanying Roshana everywhere to watch over her. Her mother-in-law had detected no whiff of scandal about Roshana, except perhaps her friendship with me. Even that didn't put her off, since foreign women are not held to the same rigorous standards as Afghan women. We're like another gender entirely, able to wander back and forth between the two otherwise separate worlds of men and women. When we do something outrageous, like reach out to shake a man's hand, it's usually a forgivable and expected outrage. The mother-in-law may even have regarded me as an asset, a connection to the wealth and power of America, as nearly all Afghans assume Americans are rich. And we are, all of us, at least in a material sense. Anyway, the mother-in-law was determined to secure Roshana as the first wife